Hello, I'm Average Joe, welcome back to the world. So today I had originally planned on working on the kitchen area more, but early into the month I just got tired of it. I had spent so long on just making the furnace and the freezer that it felt like I had barely done anything despite how much time I put into it. So I decided to take a break from everything in this map and come back to it later. During this break, I watched some videos of YouTubers playing a game called Repo. It's a game like Lethal Company where you go to these weird dark places and collect junk and scrap to repay some kind of tax debt, I think. And along the way you're accosted by monsters and horrors and... yeah. Anyways, the game looks like a lot of fun. And I would really like to play it. But since I don't have good internet or a group of friends to play it with, I can't really justify buying and playing the game. So instead, I came up with a way to put its mechanics into the board game map, because I don't know, everyone who was playing looked like they had fun. Maybe adding a little side thing would make it would be fun in the board game. Now, I still don't have everything sorted out, and I'm still not sure if adding this to the game would be a good idea, but here's the plan. On every board, there would be little areas, some hidden, some not, that spawn different types and qualities of scrap. After the board game is done and a winner is selected, players can take their scrap to the scrap processing plant and trade it in for rewards. This would ideally be a competitive effort, and each player in the game would get something for fulfilling this quota. Probably something from a loot table like dice, maybe some board-specific items so you don't have to go to it. Maybe even a diamond or emerald block for the store that I plan to put in the hub. Maybe it could even replace that store. I don't know. Probably not, but it's an idea. Now, I do have some concerns about this system. The main one being that players might focus more on searching a board for scrap instead of focusing on their turn. I don't want players getting upset at each other because they're taking too long of a turn, and on the flip side, I don't want people who are exploring to get annoyed because they got interrupted by having to take their turn. I'm also not sure how well this meshes with the main game. Like, it's the premise of an entirely different game. Does this fit with everything else in my game? Should I be worried I'm adding too many things for the players to keep track of? Am I watering down the experience of the game by throwing in too many mechanics? I don't know. But for now, I'm going to try and add it in. I already have different reasons for players to explore the boards when it's not their turn. This is just another thing on that pile. So I got to work on the scrap processing plant. I'm taking a lot of inspiration from a game I have been obsessed with called Wanderstop. It's a cozy game about this fighter named Alta. She went undefeated for years before suffering 2 losses in a row, and now, partially against her will, she is running a tea shop called Wanderstop as a way to recover from, well, everything. I'm trying to give the scrap facility a similar vibe to Wanderstop, the tea shop, since the hub is also kind of meant to be a place for players to chill out between board games. I took a few screenshots of the tea shop for reference. The shop itself has a lot of roundness to it, with each wall curving into the next and very few straight lines on the structure itself. The roof kind of hangs off the building like a hat, kind of like a witch's hat when I think about it. And every surface of the building has some kind of moss or weathering on it. I really like how that, like, moss and weathering lets the building blend into its surrounding as well. Like, it's been standing in the spot for decades, and now it's as much a part of this clearing as the grass and the trees. When I started on the scrap building, I decided on a few things. The central part of the building was going to be round, and there would be a more square section where people could enter the building, and another square section that's just an industrial-sized hopper with a crane on the side to make it look like ships could, like, come up to the side of the facility from the river and just have the scrap be dropped immediately in from the ship. I also decided not to put a lot of pre-planning into the build, so the majority of what I did here is just free-handed, messed around until I had something I liked. I did try curving the central part of the building outwards as it got higher, so like bigger rings as you went up. I thought it would add more visual interest and kind of help with the whimsical feeling I wanted to give the build. Kind of like what Wanderstop has. I added some rust and moss to the build near the waterline to help make it seem like the build has been there for a while. Should probably add more patches along the building now that I think about it, but later. For the square section that people walk into, I copied Wanderstop and had the roof overhang a little bit, but really only on the front. I also gave the front some windows. I actually ended up offsetting the door a little bit because I wanted to add some asymmetry to the front of the building, because a lot of the stuff I build tends to be very symmetrical, door in the middle, windows on the sides. So I tried something new. But moving the door over made the big window I had on the left not work, so I had to make a small window on the left and a big window on the right. For the interior, I put a big pot in the middle full of like molten materials, and I put some campfires underneath it to add smoke particles, but the glass I used for the wall of this thing is drawn over the smoke particles, so you actually can't see it from the bottom floor. I tried using iron bars instead, but I didn't like how it looked and I didn't want to mess with the floor, so I stuck with the glass. You can see the smoke from the second floor, and if you look really closely from the outside, you can see it on the top, so it should be fine. When I was picking out the colors for the building, I kind of wanted to make it mesh with the cherry grove around it. Now, in hindsight, I probably should have used more pink when I picked those colors, but I chose dark oak and mangrove and pale oak as like the main blocks for the actual building itself, and I chose iron for the hopper because a hopper is going to be made out of metal. But I chose the 3 wood types because, for one, they're not cherry, and I didn't want everything in the area to be built with cherry. But like I said in the video where I was talking about the appliances, pale oak wood actually does have some pink to it, and I think it would mix well with the cherry biome around it, as does the very red of the mangrove planks. Dark oak kind of makes it all stand out a little bit, but does blend well with the darker, like, purple of the cherry grove logs. It's not a perfect one-to-one, but I needed something with stairs, and I think it works well. And this is not the final product, because I still have to decorate the interior, and I do want to add a bit more, maybe like grass or some kind of moss hanging off the building, kind of to make it look less like it stands out from everything else and make it blend in with the cherry stuff behind it. But then again, a lot of the other stuff around here does kind of stand out, so maybe it's fine. But I do still need to do the interior here. This is going to be where people are getting the quota for their scrap and where they will be dropping it off. So there needs to be a way to tell people what the quota is and a way to drop off their scrap. As for the inside here, I'm not 100% sure how I want to decorate it. To be fair, the entire scrap facility is automated with the scrap hopper out here, and come to think of it, maybe I should actually make it look like that goes into the building. So maybe this can be like a visitor center slash scrap facility. I'm not sure. But interior does need to be done here. I took the glass out from the window up here because, you know, the bottom windows didn't have glass in them. There won't be monsters spawning anyways. I think it'll be alright. Maybe put some beds or chairs up here. And this over here, I think, is going to be like the office for the person who runs this scrap facility. I don't have much idea about who that person is at the moment. But yeah, I do like how everything here came out. You can kind of see all of the scrappy bits in there. I tried to use orangey colors to make it seem like, oh, it's all like molten and stuff, and it's all melting down. I don't know how well that came across, but yeah. And yeah. I do like how this came out. There's like little puffs of smoke coming off the top. Nothing really seems too out of place, except maybe the place where the office comes out here. And from every angle when you're walking up to it, it does kind of fit here. This is honestly one of the builds I've been most proud about in a very long time. If I had built this in survival, I would be so happy with it. But yeah, interior needs to get done, and maybe come up with a little story for what this scrap building is doing here. To be fair, I don't really have a story for this hub at all. It's kind of just meant to be a place that's here, so maybe I don't have to worry about the little story for the scrap building. But we'll see. We'll see. Well, I am done decorating the interior, and you know what? I really like this. We have a little desk here with a register, and I'm gonna have like the amount players are supposed to find written on here. They can put the scrap they find in this jar here, and it'll go down into a system and be processed. We've got some lights. We've got some machines that are meant to be taken apart laying up the front here. We've got a board telling like different levels for the crucible here. Got a little anvil. Got a little anvil here that people can use for like doing metalworking. We have controls for the crucible right here. I got a lodestone compass and broke the lodestone, so the dials actually spin around, and there is a clock here for like a really consistent one, and rails for buttons and whatever. We also have a workbench for different things, different little parts that need to be taken apart, as well as another clock. Upstairs is actually the living space for the person who runs this scrap shop. We have her bedroom over here with some blinds in front of the window so people can't peek in. Obviously not the most effective blinds because you can like still see under here, but it's fine. Nobody's perfect. We've got a little place for them to sit down over here, a little grandfather clock as well, and a little office right here. All in all, I think this came out pretty well. I have been writing a little short story for the scrap building here, the little scrap processing facility. And I'm probably not gonna do anything with it. But still, it really did help me kind of figure out how I wanted everything to look in here. So, yeah. Oh, and I've even put in some chests in the closet here, and players can actually use that to store whatever they want in there. But it's not secure, so use it at your own peril. I still want to do some minor weathering of the building out front, maybe in the back somewhere, but that is going to have to wait because I am behind schedule, as always. Sometimes it feels like I'm never ahead of schedule. And had some news to deal with this weekend that was not the best in the world. But this scrap facility is done. I don't have any, like, of the mechanics or searching around boards and collecting scrap to turn it here, as I'm still not 100% sure if I want to add that in. I think I'm gonna finish the kitchen in the mansion before I do any of the actual scrap mechanics. Wait a minute, that's also a game. Anyways, that's all I have time for. I hope you guys enjoyed this shorter video, and I hope you come around next time. So, yeah. See ya.